My second question concerns political theory. Implicit in the deregulatory era, and indeed in the promise of risk management, is a vastly different, possibly more humble positioning of any public agency. We hear a lot about governance these days and less about government. Responsibility is thought to be distributed in networks. Public-private partnerships abound and are encouraged as the new 21st century way forward in all exercises of power. How does reputation play out, I then wonder, when the very foundations of FDA's political legitimacy are to some degree in question? To whom is FDA accountable in a world suddenly populated with a whole array of new, amorphous, and sometimes placeless actors, from patient advocacy groups to the stock market, and from global pharma and the World Trade Organization to the blogosphere? Who, in short, defines FDA's reputation, and whose definition matters? My third question turns to moral theory. The term reputation rests on an underlying judgment or set of judgments concerning virtuous conduct. We know who has a good or bad reputation only when we also know, tacitly and explicitly, what are the norms of behavior against which that reputation is measured, whether in domains of technical expertise and skill or in domains of political power. The Platonic ideal of the good regulator rests on notions of wisdom, judgment, right and wrong, ethics and humility that are assumed and widely shared by its authorizing political culture. Dan cogently argues that the FDA's reputation answered to specific demands and needs of American patients and pharmaceutical drug consumers at particular moments in our political and technological history. What criteria of virtue will FDA have to answer to in today's more fragmented, globalizing world in which patient demands vie with scientific judgments, risk perceptions and acceptability vary across cultural frontiers, and a US agency's role in the matrix of global governance is itself up for grabs? Towards the end of this book, appropriately called Magisterial, Dan quotes a couple of poignant lines from the Requiem Mass. I think he hears it in its Mozartian version because the soprano voice he so clearly hears in his head must come from somewhere specific. I myself am reminded instead of a line of the German Hölderlin, Wozu Dichter in dürftiger Zeit? What need is there for poets in needy times? So is there a world of virtue any longer in which reputation matters to the exercise of power? Or has FDA, in the version you depicted, simply become an anachronism in a more cruel, pragmatic, and fast-moving world?